This video is going to be mostly just a practice sheet of questions for you to try for showing part A of iteration questions. Now, just remember the key phrase. If you're trying to solve an equation that equals 0, there's one very important thing to remember. If there is a sign change of the y value from positive to negative, then there's a solution between these two numbers. So a quick example here. This phrase here you have to remember. You have to repeat that. You have to write it in part A of these questions. So if you think about this equation here, where you've got x cubed minus 3x minus 1, well, if you want to show there's a solution between these two values, and these two values will be given to you. You don't need to worry about picking these two values. They're not going to be random numbers. They will be specifically provided. At A level they're not, but for GCSE they always are. You want to put these two values in. You want to show that one is positive. You want to show the other one is negative, and then just say your key phrase, because there is a sign change, there is a solution. So let's do some practice questions. Pause the video and try these two questions here, and then I'm going to show the answers in 5, 4, 3, 2. So here's answers to question 1. And it should be laid out exactly like this. Maybe this middle working out you can get away without showing it, but it really does make sense to show your working out just in case you make a silly mistake. And then for question 2, these are your solutions here. You're going to get -8 and 5. And there's a sign change, which means there's a solution between these two x values. Okay, another 2 questions for you to practice. Pause the video. I'm going to show the answers in 3, 2, 1. So you should have got, for the first, for question 3, negative 0.01245 and 0.0568. And then for question 4, you should have got -2 and 9.5. So that means that there's a solution in between these two values here. Okay. This is an optional extended question here where you're going to try to find the actual solution. And in order to do that, you're going to draw a table. So if you know there's a solution between 0 and 1, then you can do a bit of trial and error, picking out some numbers here and then figuring out how can I get as close to 0 as possible. So if you want to pause the video and try this, you can. Otherwise, I'm going to show you the solutions and I'll explain it through to you, because it's worth knowing how to do this. So here are the answers. So when you put x equals 0 in to this equation here, you get -2 coming out. And when you put x equals 1 into this equation, you get 1 coming out. So you know that it goes from -2 to 1. So at some point here, we're going to get something close to 0. So in the case of 0.2, we get -1.2, -0.8. You can see it's getting closer and closer to 0. Now, which of these numbers is closest to 0? Well, we can see the sign changes in between these two, in between 0.5 and 0.6. So we can be a bit more accurate than 0 and 1 as our two boundary values. We can see that 0.125 is going to be closer to 0 than 0.184. So we will say 0.5 is going to be our solution to 1 decimal place. Now that covers part A of iteration. These questions are very standard. You're always given the 2x values to try, and you just follow those steps. So just to recap, that is what part A looks like. And now we're going to look at part B. So it says, show that the equation, and then you're given an equation, can be rearranged to give something else. And you're going to spot the link between these two. It is just rearranging. So part B is what we're going to look at next. And in the last few videos, we'll look at part C. I'll see you in the next video.